Throwback Thursday. I'm going to tell you another tale about Christmas Day and about my wily old dad, because he's a sly one, is my dad. So I've mentioned before how we had Christmas and he teased me about Jazz Jackrabbit 2, and he said, oh, I haven't won it, but maybe somebody will get it, and then he revealed it late on during Christmas, after he bait and switched me, and it was very cheeky but very well played. And do you know, he managed to do something very similar again. I think it was Christmas. I'm fairly certain it was Christmas, this, but, well, I'm hoping it is now, otherwise this is going to be a pretty stupid vlog. So, once again, it came to Christmas morning and we were all downstairs, we were all having our cups of tea and opening our presents, and there was a nice spread, and my dad had pointed out a particular present that he said I should open last because that was my special, my big present. That was the present for the year. And so I was quite excited. I was trying to temper my expectations, because you do, but I was pretty excited about what this present could be. It was a square little box, and opened all my other bits and bats, and it was quite good. And then I got to this last present, and it was sort of like everybody watch while he opens this, and oh, Josh, it was the pressure was on, friends. The pressure was on, and so unwrapped it and opened it, and it was a Lego Darth Vader alarm clock. Not something I especially wanted. I know I'm a big fan of Lego, but a Lego Darth Vader alarm clock, a second-hand one at that, wasn't even mint on box or mint on card or whatever it came in. And so I did the whole thing of feigning, oh, yeah, it's pretty cool, yeah. That was my big present, huh? Ugh. But, friends, he had fooled me again, because following that, he was like, actually, you know what? No, that's not your big present. This is your big present. And he brought out this very large box. Very large. I don't know how big exactly. Can't think off the top of my head. But it was, a sizable box. And I was looking at it thinking, oh, what could this be? And so, tore the packaging a bit. And I saw something interesting. And as soon as I saw that, I ripped the whole thing open, and it turns out it was the box no less, the original box for the Amiga 600. Not considered the best Amiga by many Amiga fans. Well, I mean, if you're going to go for Amiga, go for the 1200. That's generally considered the one to go for. But, lots of people prefer the A500 as well. But this is the A600, and this is the more compact, this is sort of the budget model that they made of the A1200. But you don't need a history lesson, because I want to go to bed. But, yeah, this is my A600. It's got the twiddly thing that I got from a Retro Games Fair once. I think I might have mentioned it on a haul video many years ago. In fact, the guy I bought that off came to take a look at this Amiga, because let's start from the beginning, shall we? So, the Amiga, it was in its original state. It was in the box. It came from the Wild, Weird and Wicked box set, because Amigas came in box sets back then. That was their big selling model. And unfortunately, it didn't come with the original games, I don't think. But it came with a fat bunch of floppy disks, which was pretty great. And all of the cables and paraphernalia and stuff. I think I've got a aftermarket power adapter, which is a bit more efficient. So yeah, I've got a lot for this Amiga. And yeah, I fired it up and it was pretty darn great. And I had all the discs and stuff, and I was just faffing about with what I could. I didn't have much when I first got it, and I've still not got much. But I've got the Gotek USB thing there, so I can just play whatever I want, which is pretty great. But yeah, it was cool, and I showed my mate Chris, and he was very impressed. We messed about with my very first, or the very first disc, which shows you how to use the Amiga, and I thought it was really cool. Something that I'd like to make a video on one day, in fact. And not long after that, it kind of kind of did itself in, and I wasn't really sure what to do. So I can't remember how this ended up happening, but the guy I bought the Amiga Gotek thing off with the little twiddly, which, by the way, this is the first one he ever made. I think he was called Nick. If you're out there, and if you happen to be listening to this vlog, then hi. I appreciate all your effort. Yeah, this dude. The guy I bought this off, he came and had a look at my Amiga and diagnosed it and said, hey, this thing smells like dead fish, you've got blown caps. And so I got it recapped, which was really cool. That's for those not in the know. Electronics are full of things called capacitors that hold charge, and you know, budget computers from the 80s and early 90s, I think, 1991 I want to say, tended to go with kind of not very expensive and not very well-rated capacitors, which end up going kaboom and leaking all over the circuit board. Thankfully, the board was fine. I sent it off to a bloke in Norwich, probably, and cleaned it up and put new capacitors in, and it was all swanky. I think it cost me like 50 quid. And unfortunately, the keyboard ribbon had caught a bit of damage, so the keyboard isn't working, and so I haven't really used it very much since getting it recapped. But something that I would like to do is put a mechanical keyboard in, because I think that would be great, and then I'll have the best Amiga in the world. Just want to, before I close off this hasty vlog, because I mean I want to have more Amiga stories to tell, because it's just a fascinating system, so ahead of its time. But I will just finish off by saying, prior to Christmas, just totally apropos of nothing pretty much, I think me and my dad were probably discussing computers and retro games and stuff. I think he had engineered that conversation, and he said something like, if you could have any system, which would it be? If you could have any game system or computer, what would you pick? And I said to him, probably the Amiga. I think, I'm trying to think why I said that at the time. It was probably around the time we were doing Mystery Arcade, and we were playing a few Amiga conversions of certain games, and yeah, probably due to Ashens as well. Blame Ashens. And later on he said to me that it was quite surprised that I'd said Amiga, because he'd actually found me an Amiga in the charity shop. Yeah, back when charity shops had good stuff. He found this Amiga in the box in the flipping charity shop. How nuts is that? So that's my Amiga story, and hopefully someday this Amiga will be restored to its full glory, possibly even with one of those Pi-Storm things in it. Oh, RMC did a video on that. That looks very exciting. I'll have to do with that, and then it'll be the Super Amiga. And yeah, I'll hopefully have more to say about it. Anyway, that's all from me. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow. One last look at the Amiga. How about that? One other thing I need to do is get some more screws for it, because I think I've lost all those screws that came out of the bottom because I never screwed it back together. Pretty good, isn't it?